So I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you got some kind of really important conversation you have with someone, something that you need confidence for, whether that's a new job interview or asking someone out. But I want to help you handle it with confidence instead of fear. My name is Taven, and I'm wanting to bring people closer to Christ while also helping other people with finding more purpose in their lives and joy in their lives. So there is, I'm struggling with this right now too, and I'm faced with a very big conversation. But I remember there was a lot of times when I was working in the past that I had to talk about something very important, whether that was I didn't feel like I was being treated fairly by a certain coworker. Um, but I remember being fearful because I didn't know how this coworker was going to react. I didn't know if they were going to seem like they hated me more. And I still went to my boss and had that conversation, and I didn't have a lot of confidence with it. But it's also through a lot of conversations I've had that I built that confidence. So, what I like to do is I pray before I talk to people, or I get advice from other people of how I should go along with it. And a lot of times it's just the fear of what that person's going to think of me. So, confidence helps us communicate clearly with other people. We earn respect through it, and we set the tone for important conversations. And when we have confidence and we're a lot more calm and self assured, people respond better when we approach those situations like that. So we want to have confidence, but we don't want to be arrogant. We need to be remembering that it's important to distinguish our confidence from being arrogant. Uh, Confidence comes from you knowing what you're worth and being prepared for something. Arrogance is a facade of insecurity. When we are being arrogant, we're just showing our insecurities through acting like we're better. That is not what we want to do. We want to be, our goal is to have genuine, grounded confidence. So, how are you going to build your confidence before this big conversation you're about to have? Well, be clear about what you want to communicate. What do you want to achieve from this conversation? Whether that's a resolution, an understanding, or a specific outcome. You can have clarity of what you have that you want to talk about, whether that's a promotion, whether that's a raise. Clarity of what you want from this outcome brings a lot of focus and reduces anxiety. And maybe journal about what you want the thing to be, because a lot of times we can go into a conversation and we don't know why we are wanting to have this conversation. Why are we having this conversation? What are we going to get out of this? So be more, what's the word? Be more clear on what your set intention is for the conversation. And our confidence isn't just about how we speak, it's also about how we listen. So, number two is be actively listening to the other person. Approach the conversation with the intent to understand the other person's perspective just as much as you want them to understand your perspective. And having active listening helps reduce pressure on just yourself, and it also improves your communication with them. Because when you understand where they're coming from, understanding what they are wanting, it helps improve your communication with them and helps you be on a even ground with them. Another one, number three, is I would visualize the successful conversation. So I just recently read through Psycho-Cybernetics, where it talks about visualizing things to help life be better. And one of the things that they say is visualizing success instead of visualizing your failure. So instead of thinking about, okay, this is how everything's going to go wrong, you think, okay, if things could go right, this is how it's going to go right. Have a bit of an idea of how you could fail and what you're going to do after you fail, but do not dwell on that. Dwell on the success. Dwell on, if I'm successful, this is how it's going to go. Don't be scared of failure. Be more focused on your success. It talks about visualizing, and what you want to do is picturing this your conversation going well, and see yourself speaking clearly, and feel what positive emotions you'll experience afterwards. Then, when you're visualizing this, you are going to be a lot more calm and positive throughout your conversation. And also prepare for your conversation. This is going to be number 4. Prepare for your conversation, but do not overthink about it. Preparation is key. Know what you want to talk about, but don't script every single thing you're going to do. When you're just scripting everything you're going to do, you're going to sound like a robot. You're going to deliver every single sentence with this robotic voice. You're going to sound like you're talking as an AI. You're not going to sound like an actual human being because you're trying to script every single thing you're going to say. Prepare points that you want to bring up to people. Like, I like to write down points, like questions, but I'm not going to only go off of what I have written down. Be prepared for things, but don't overthink every little tiny detail. Prepare the general guidelines for what you want to say, and then trust yourself in the moment to word those things in the moment and not just trying to memorize this script of things you want to say. Oh, I was really wanting to get a pay raise because I was. No, don't be doing that crap. Be prepared, but do not overthink about things. Number 5, pray. Uh, for those who share my faith and know and believe in the power of prayer, ask God to give you peace and wisdom and courage to speak with grace and confidence. Ask him for the words to say and giving him you the words to say in the moments. There have been many times I've been talking to people in ministry. I remember I was talking to these 3 guys and we were talking about religion, and they brought up their religion and how their religion only promotes love, and if the enemy's using their religion, then he's kicking his own butt. But instead of just agreeing with them, I had a thought that had never even appeared into my mind before. And I believe it was from the Holy Spirit because I had prayed for guidance and the words to say through it, the conversation. But it came to my mind that if the enemy doesn't want us to come to Christ, that is what he does not want. He wants us to be as far away from Christ as possible. Then he can use other religions to make it look loving, but it's going to teach a false Christ. So that's just one story of something that came to mind when I was talking about praying before something. But it also just helps ground you in your confidence because you know God is going to be with you. Number 6, and the final one is, well, for preparation before the conversation, I want to talk about things you can do during your conversation, then what you can do afterwards too. So don't think this is only for preparation for your conversation, but stay grounded in your own values. Confidence comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for, and when you know who you are and you know your own worth, then you're not trying to fake trying to be someone else. Be yourself, Stay grounded in your values, and you'll find it easier to speak with these convictions, whether it's with integrity, honesty, or love. Remind yourself of your own core beliefs. Remind yourself of what you are doing this for, uh, what your morals are. So, those are the six things I can think of for before the conversation. Now, how can you be more confident during the conversation? I think the most important thing is staying calm and remembering to breathe. There's a lot of times when we are having a conversation where we forget to breathe correctly. And when we are breathing like just these shallow because we're nervous, then that's going to make us feel more nervous. But having that calm breathing, just normal breath in, remember to take those deep breaths if you do start feeling nervous. And it will help you stay in control of your own emotions. Um, Number two is maintain your eye contact and remember kind of your own body language. Confidence isn't just about how you say things, but it's also how you present yourself as well. And make sure you're maintaining good posture. Right now, I'm doing a terrible job at representing that because I got these couch cushions behind me. But try and maintain your good posture and remain giving eye contact. I'm not giving the best example with that because I'm looking down at the points I've written down, but have that positive body language. Show that you're fully engaged and self assured. You can have the conversation looking into the person's eyes. Maybe I wouldn't say the entire time. I would say while they are talking, maintain the eye contact, especially when they're talking. It shows that you are actively listening to them. It shows that you are actively taking in what they are saying and you are sharing a level of respect for them for what they're saying. But then when you're saying your own things, yeah, you can look around, especially if you're trying to think of something, you can look down, you can look over and somewhere else, but don't be doing it to where you look like you're like all fidgety, like I kind of made it look like. But maintain that eye contact, and if you're trying to think of something, then yes, look away for a second, because it would kind of look weird if you're thinking about something, you're just thinking like staring at them dead in the eye like that. And be open to the other person's responses as well. Conversation is a two-way thing, and you need to remember to be listening carefully and not get too defensive if they say something you don't like. Be open to their feedback to you, especially if it's something with a job. Um, if they give feedback to you and you get into a defensive state, don't be getting too defensive. But when you're being open to other people's feedback, it shows a lot of maturity and confidence in yourself, even if your conversation is not going exactly as you plan. And take pauses if you need to. If your emotions are running too high or things feel too overwhelming, it's okay to take a little pause. Pausing before you respond gives you time to think about what you're going to respond with and allows you to think of a clear response before you just blurt out some dumb crap. Allow yourself some time to think if you need to, and the person's not going to think you are weird because it's going to be a hard conversation. It's a hard conversation for you and possibly for them too, so I'm sure they're going to understand if you need to take a moment to think. And then what do you do after your conversation? Well, I think the most important thing is after the conversation, take time to reflect on it. Did you say what you wanted to? How did you handle any unexpected turns? And every conversation is a learning experience. And if it wasn't perfect, you still gain confidence through the practice. You have that experience, and now you can do that next time you have to. And you can journal about it. I journal a lot about the things that I've done and what I could have done better with it. And if I got what I wanted to get through with it. And yeah, celebrate taking the step too. I wouldn't just say, oh, yeah, I have that experience. Celebrate it. Celebrate the fact that you face your fear and approach the conversation with courage. Whether the outcome was what you hoped for or not, you took that step and you had that hard conversation. You had a really difficult conversation. A lot of people would try and avoid it. But you took that step, and now you can have that time to celebrate it and be happy with yourself that you took that step, and just taking that step is a win. So even if you're nervous, you're still capable of approaching those conversations with grace and confidence, and fear doesn't have to hold you back from speaking up and making positive changes in your life. Talk to these people, and I'm sure you have it. If you feel fear, remember, I think I keep on saying these in so many of my latest videos, but courage is having that skill to have that fear, but you continue to do it anyways. So use these things to be helpful. And if you do go through it, I would love to hear in the comments how it went. And if there's any other ideas that you might want to share with some other people in the comments below. Thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.